Welcome back, everybody. Robert Taylor here for another exciting episode of Landscape Materials. If you recall, last time we made this beauty right here with this code and all that jazz, setting it all up. And I told you that this next episode we would be doing both moving this all into functions and doing the area mask. It's going, because of setting this up into functions properly, it's going to have to be 2 episodes, so the area is going to have to be a separate episode. However, that episode will be airing today with this one, so that you're not having to wait until the following day to get that episode. I promised you guys that you would get both of them, so you will get both of them just in separate episodes. So this one is for making this into a material function that is proper for everyday use. And what I mean by that is you're going to run into times where you don't need a snow top, or you're going to run into times where you want a snow top and you want a middle and lower, so different three layers of different sets of textures, or just 3 layers of the biome being different. And in order to do that, we need to make it to where we can turn certain features on and off and manipulate the functions in that way. So I already went ahead and did it. This is what it's going to look like when we're all over and done. And also with this video and in the next the video with the area mask, I will have this update uploaded and with an updated link for those that want to just simply download it to utilize it to continue to follow along and learn, because I'm telling you right now, it's complex. Just so that you can see. Yeah, that's the function. That's right here. That's right here. So, let's go ahead and get started. First thing you're going to want to do is, in your landscape, go to your material functions, and you're going to want to create, we're going to want to create masks for the slopes and for the height. Well, not masks, but functions. And because we want this set up properly, we need to make them into material functions. So again, come in here to materials, landscape, material functions, right click, materials, material function. And the first one we're going to do is the height mask. So once you have it open up, you can, sorry, let me close this. We'll get to that in a bit. You can come here to this information right here, copy it, don't cut it yet, just copy it, and paste it here. Once you've pasted it in here, obviously make sure it's connected. Something I like to do is I have this showing up right down here. Now, you may be wondering why. Let me just grab that. Actually, I don't like using this, and I keep forgetting about it. Bam. I have them separated so that everything is known. Every pin, so in this case, these pins show that they're required, but they really aren't. It's just to help solidify the difference. It's just an organizational thing for me. Let's see here. So I have these all set to the defaults. Important to note is, as you can see here, type of height mask. That may be confusing to some. Down here, which was right here, input direction, I had them being the person able to choose between 1 and -1. For me, I changed that because once you get to a certain point with the amount of materials you have populating procedurally, you're going to start getting gray squares. What do I mean by that? Well, if we come over here to Let me just go to landscape here. We're gonna go to manage. We're gonna keep it on select. You see these squares? If you have too many texture samples within one of these squares, it's gonna turn gray. And that, in order to slow down when that happens, that's why we made the texture sample type to be wrapped. So that there could be more. I believe it's like 64 or 128. I can't remember the exact number. I just know you can reach it the more complex you get. And with runtime virtual textures being a thing now, having a super complex procedural material is ideal for those that can't have terrain generators. So I limited my direction to a true false of whether it's a cap or a a waterbed, but you don't have to limit it like this, or you could also still have it limited like this and have as many height maps as you want, so that it can then be chosen at your discretion. But anyways, when you click on one of these, it's a scalar input, obviously, and I put in here default 500, and I check marked this. And I did that with all of these. So the absolute world position, I did not add to it. There was no reason to. Again, no reason to add those. And then for these, edge noise, obviously I kept the texture the same to limit the amount of texture samples because we don't want too many. Obviously this isn't a texture sample. What's in here is. So then once you have this all set up, I'll slowly go over this again. Once you have these all changed to inputs and change these to variables, you can just right click it, and where it says convert to parameter, you can have it here. You can have it say convert to constant. You can do that with all of them. When you do it to the texture object, make sure you first select in the browser for it. That way, when you change this texture object back into back from a parameter, it'll keep the texture that's within it. Otherwise, it's going to go to the default texture. Now, once you have that set up, the next thing we're going to do is the slope mask. So this part right here, this is the slope mask. So make sure you copy this. Come in here. I forgot I did that. Material functions. Right click again, create a material function. I named it slope mask. And here it is. Now there are changes from here to here. Not many, but enough that it's important to make sure you pay attention. So this was already there. I added a second step. Every time that you want to have another height mask, you need to add this to the slope mask. You have to. Unless you intend on having the slope mask mirror, unless you intend for that height mask to mirror the slope, the normal, biases and the sharpness is the same no matter what, the normal biases. So if you don't care about the height being different for the bias, for the slopes, then you don't have to do this. But because I want that option there for the very specific reason that wet sand and snow attached to cliff sides at a higher angle, I wanted the difference there. That does remind me of something that I need to add, and I will add that before I send the updated project, because right now I have it to where when this updates for the slopes, it automatically does this, and you may not want that, so I need to make sure I fix that. So again, I made sure I put the default check mark, put that in there, did everything the same. Make sure it's a static bool. I have them automatically set to false. Everything is identical to how it was supposed to be set up. Alright, I'm going to continue. If you need more time, go ahead and pause it. Oh, I moved things around. I'm going to save just for the heck of it. Alright, after that is where the complexity comes in. What? Why is it changing that? Okay. So, like I said, here's where the complexity comes in. Right here. This mess. I'm going to do this in a different manner to help you guys out a bit. Actually, no, I'm not. I can't. It took me 4 hours to get this set up. So I'm just going to help you understand it. So I wanted the player to have the ability for each height mask to have the option of having a different cliff texture material. If they choose to not have 3 materials in their slope, then this turns it into biome 1 from dirt 1. Use height masks, which is here's where the slope data comes in, to save on, not really save on, but for difficulty I did not, for the right here, for the masks, I just set it up with the mask. Like I said, I will fix that in a moment. Like I said, extremely complicated. This is, this can be, you know, overwhelming, especially if it's your first time seeing something like this. This is as clean as I could possibly get it. Something of note that's important to know, the regular biome, the regular slope, so from the transition from the surface to the cliff, or if you have 3, the transition from the biome to the dirt, is much more simple. So I only pulled out from the pins that I needed: slope sharpness, slope bias, and the edge noises. Everything edge noise had its own set of settings except for the texture. I kept the edge texture the same for the entire biome. If you want to make it more complex, you can make it to where they have their own. I don't really recommend it. So to help, here's where you choose if you want 3 materials or just 2 for your slope. If you want just 2, it goes straight into this. If you want just 2, but do you want the bottom height mask, the lower height mask, so the one that's set for, riverbeds or ocean beds, beaches. If you do, it does this. It then asks if you want to use the biome height too. So biome lower height, I didn't change these, which is right here, biome lower height. And if that's true, then it just goes straight to the biome lower height. If it's false, it'll come here. At which point it's going to ask, do you want to use dirt lower height, or do you want to use the dirt that's already for the surface? That's in this biome. And then true or false will get you to dirt 1 or dirt 2. Once all that is said and done, it comes here. Use height mask. So do you want to use the snow cap one? false, then you just come straight here and you choose whether you want the biome to be. Oh no, this is for the transition. This is connected to this. It's important to make sure that that distinction is kept, because no matter what, false or true, it goes into this. So this is what will determine whether it's a 2 material slope or a 3 material slope, which then goes into the exact same thing that was right here, but for, um, again, for the dirt, for the higher mask. So that's that. If you do want a third transition, then obviously that means you've got to come through here. So again, this repeats what's up here. The difference being that when you're getting a new height mask, the changing of the biome is required. And I did that for the simple fact that that's generally, like 99% of the time, that's how height masks are used, is to change the grass to snow or the grass to sand. 99% of the time, I rarely ever, can't remember ever seeing this being an option. I'm not going to say it's never happened. That's why I said 99% of the time. So that's literally the simplest way. And then once that's done, it just goes straight into here and repeats all that information. I put all the static bools for the switches, which do all the true false stuff right there. The material functions right there, so that I had the image to ensure that it was still working. I had these here. You can delete them if you wish. And then right here, obviously, for the slope, noise, and parameters and whatnot. And then for the height, this is where the height masks are. The height masks attached to where the pink is at, or the purple, depending on which one you have. And then the slope masks are just these ones right here. Slope, slope, attached to this alpha. This one is attached to this alpha. That's it. Super complex, super complicated. I know, and I'm sorry. Once that's done, you want to make sure that you organize all this stuff, set it up how you want, organize it how you want. Then it turns into this. Here's where I keep all the parameters for the procedural biome. This is called procedural biome. So control space, I made a new folder called biomes, created a new material function, this one being material biomes. Once placed in here, you then have to set up all of these. You can easily copy and paste all of the parameters that are already here and place them in here. The issue is there are still going to be some that are empty because more was added. Now, with that being said, when it comes time to doing this, I literally just opened this up, copied this, pasted it in here, and plugged it in, and it works. Because I have everything set up in an orderly fashion of how I want things to work. So set things up in an organized fashion, and you'll have an easier time creating materials. So then once that was done, came here and we have this right here. Beautiful, I know. The question that you may be asking is, well, why? Let me show you. And hit save. Now the colors I put in extremes to ensure that everything can be seen. Go back to select. So the black doesn't have to be black. It would actually be snow so that it keeps creeping. And the pink wouldn't actually be pink. It would be dirt or sand or whatever, so it keeps creeping on the clip size. and this is literally what you'll have at the end of it. Um, with it looking natural, it'll look significantly better. If I go ahead and I'm gonna come in here, I want to keep that. I want to keep that. Let's see, add cliff upper height material. I'm going to turn that off. Add dirt upper high material. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to turn that off. And then I'll turn this one on. And this one on. Now, if I was in a material instance, you'd be seeing this stuff changing instantly instead of me having to save. Let's give it a moment. It's doing its thing here. Preparing shaders. Will take a minute because I didn't bother doing all this beforehand, so it wasn't preloaded in the cache. So it's going to take a minute. But anyways, by doing that, it's going to put it back to its normal state, normal-ish state. It's still going to have the masks. There we go. As you can see, things have improved, except for that. That should have been turned into this, but it wasn't. Why did I not check it? False, true, false, true, false, true. Okay. It looks like I have something in the settings I need to fix, and that's fine. I will make sure that gets fixed before I upload this. That way it's all set correctly. Because right now this is using the Dirt 3 instead of Dirt 1 like it should be. So I set something up incorrectly. Not a big deal. That is just interesting to me. I must have it. Anyways, I digress. So then it makes it less complex, and it looks natural. It looks clean. It looks great. So in the next episode, which again is airing today, it'll be releasing at the same time this one is. Actually, probably like 10 minutes after, or at the same time. I'm not 100% sure yet. Regardless, the next episode will be airing the same day as this one, and we'll be going over area masks. So having it procedurally place based off of an area that you choose, it'll procedurally place a materials to your liking and how you want it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned a lot, and that if you have any questions that you will leave them in the comments below so that I can help you out. Please make sure you like and subscribe. That way you can, get updates when the next video hits. Which, again, this next one's going to be the area masks. And once we're done with the area mask, we're going to be pretty much done. We'll set up a couple of regular biomes, so not procedural ones, for paint layers. And we'll get paint layers set up. And then once we have paint layers set up, we'll get RVT set up, runtime virtual textures, for those that aren't aware. That way, for those that have been looking at it and thinking this is insane, come here to shader complexity. It's straight pink. It's just extremely bad. With runtime virtual texturing, it'll put it down here. But that's what happens when you do things procedurally. And when you're a small team and you need things done quickly, you need things done procedurally. So we'll get that fixed and cleaned up and aired out in the next episode that comes on the next day that these things air. Whether it's the Tuesday or Thursday, I don't know. I record these well ahead of time. Again, thank you for watching, Please like and subscribe, and have an amazing day. Bye.